First, for those of you unaware, we've talked at length about the non-conference schedule. And once it's officially fully set, I will go through it in depth again and give my thoughts. But two of the games have been set, and that's for that Players Era tournament that you may have been aware Alabama played in the Players Era tournament last season. They unfortunately lost it to Oregon in the championship game when Latrell Wrightsell tore his Achilles. But in the first two rounds of that Players Era tournament this upcoming season, Alabama is going to be playing Gonzaga on Monday, November the 24th at 8:30 Central Time, and UNLV on Tuesday, November the 25th at 11 p.m. Central Time. I know that 11 o'clock Central Time is one that a lot of people are going to be very upset about, especially anybody on the East Coast, given that it's a midnight tip. Obviously, with this tournament being out in Vegas, that does influence when these games are able to tip. There are also a lot more teams in the tournament this year, so the fact that there are so many more teams, that does make it substantially more difficult to play games earlier. But for this season, that's going to be a very, very late tip. My plan is to stay up and watch that game. We will have to see when it comes around, given the fact that that's on Thanksgiving week. But Alabama's opponents are officially set with Gonzaga and UNLV. My immediate thoughts of that are, obviously, this is really, really good that Alabama gets to play a team like Gonzaga. That's a team that, consistently, when you think of Mark Few, you think of absolute consistency and just being able to get his team to the Sweet 16 over and over and over again. The type of consistency that you're looking for out of a basketball program. The first time he had not made the Sweet 16 in the last 9 seasons was last season when they played Houston, that eventually made it to the national title game. So that's really just what you're looking at, is Gonzaga is an absolutely elite team. Being able to play him and Mark Few early in the season is something that I think is really going to bolster your resume. That's going to really tell you how ready you are for high-level competition, because Gonzaga is a team that's going to stress you out. This is not the first time that they've met. Alabama has played Gonzaga a couple of times, notably in Birmingham and in Seattle, when Alabama and Gonzaga had the semi-home and semi-home, where Alabama took the game in Seattle and then Gonzaga took the game in Birmingham. But this is going to be a really, really good matchup early in the season. As far as UNLV, I don't know nearly as much about them, other than the fact that Nas Cunningham is actually going to be playing for them this season. So we will have a kind of a reunion of sorts of one of our players from this last season. So that's a little bit about the tournament that we have coming up. We don't know a ton about it. All we know as of today is those are the two matchups that are going to be taking place. The tournament is going to be laid out very similar to how it was laid out last season, in that you're only going to have 2 games starting out, and then based on wins and losses, win differential, etc., there's quite a few tiebreakers. They're going to determine who the champion is. It is a little weird how they're going to do the championship, because Alabama plays Gonzaga and Alabama plays UNLV, and then Maryland's kind of the other team in our 4-team pod. But we all kind of play each other, so it makes it very, very confusing how you're going to determine who the winner is. There's a lot of tiebreakers going to have to take place, because the likelihood of teams winning the first 2 games is actually much more likely, especially with the expanded field. I believe it's up to 18 teams this season, so that is going to be a little bit different with the way that tournament is laid out this season.